Item Number SCP-3999. Object Class Apollyon. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-3999 cannot be contained at the present moment, and currently poses a ZK-class end-of-reality scenario. The most advisable course of action is for Researcher Talloran, believed to be the focal point of SCP-3999, to remove himself from contact with all Foundation sites and personnel to avoid further collateral damage to Foundation property. It is theorized that if Researcher Talloran is contained in an extremely secluded area, then the destructive capabilities of SCP-3999 will temporarily cease. The most advisable course of action is for Researcher Talloran, believed to be the focal point of SCP-3999, to remove himself from contact with all human populations to avoid further collateral damage to the Earth and its societies. It is theorized that if Researcher Talloran is determined SCP-3999 will be decommissioned. Researcher Talloran cannot leave the Foundation. The most advisable course of action is for Researcher Talloran, believed to be the focal point of SCP-3999, to remove himself from contact with all animal life to avoid further collateral damage to the Earth and its biodiversity. It is theorized that if Researcher Talloran is to live out the rest of his life in a small shack, isolated from all animal life and as much plant life as possible. Research is currently continuing as to how to negate the effects of SCP-3999. Current proposals include launching it into the sun. Talloran's family is to be summarily executed one by one. The process is to be carried out by trained agents selected from a variety of mobile task forces, including MTF Omega 8, MTF Lambda 12, MTF Psi 7, MTF Tau 5, and MTF Iota 10. These agents are to be retrained in military tactics and special weapons tactics. SCP-3999 is to be classified as a Researcher Talloran. Genus Homo sapiens sapiens. A being superficially resembling a human male. Is dressed in attire appropriate for a Foundation researcher. When questioned by staff, seemed nervous and confused, wondering as to where it was and to the location of SCP-3999. Subject promptly terminated. Researcher Talloran. Researcher Talloran is deeply connected with SCP-3999. Interviewed. Researcher Talloran. Interviewer. Dr. Begin log. Timecode 03.99.90. So who are you exactly?
I'm Researcher Talloran, one of the researchers assigned to SCP-3999.
But we have no records of you anywhere.
I told you that there's something funny happening to me, but I can't quite describe it. It's like in a dream, where things are really disconnected.
Disconnected?
I have trouble focusing on things now. I just feel a lot of unease. It's like reality has started to feel less real, if that makes sense.
But we have no records of you anywhere.
You already said that.
So who are you exactly?
Wait, what's going on here? What site is this? What did you say your name was again, Doctor?
Doctor.
That's not a name. You just made a noise with your mouth. Why am I thinking of redactions? How can a word be redacted like that in a normal conversation?
This interview is terminated. End log. Timecode. Optional time info. Closing statement. Small summary and passage on what transpired afterward.
Wir können ihn nicht ablenken.
Da kommt er!
Ich kann nicht mehr.
Steine können nicht rennen!
Feigt oder fliegt?
Nützt nichts! Heute Lernzeit!
Scheiße.
Researcher Talloran. Notice from the Foundation Records and Information Security Administration. The following file contains a virulent Infohazard. Due to this, it is imperative that all personnel accessing this file be certified as having a cognitive resistance value, CRV, of no less than 14.5. Should you fail an automated CRV verification, please remain calm and do not move. Researcher Talloran will be with you shortly. SCP-3999. SCP-3999 is to be contained via Mr. and Mrs. Dursley of number 4 Privet Drive, who were proud to say that they were perfectly normal, thank you very much. They were the last people you'd expect to be involved in anything strange or mysterious because they just didn't hold with such nonsense. Mr. Dursley was the director of a firm called the Global Occult Coalition, which contained anomalies. He was a big, beefy man with hardly any neck, although he did have a very large mustache. Mrs. Dursley was thin and blonde and had nearly twice the usual amount of neck, which came in very useful as she spent so much of her time craning over garden fences spying on the neighbors.
The Dursleys had a small son called Researcher Talloran, and in their opinion there was no fireboy anywhere.
SCP-3999, at the prompting of its armed escort, is to brutally
Rape Researcher Talloran's sister, and then rip out her eyeballs, slice off her legs, and disembowel her. It is then to use its abilities and reverse the damage it has perpetrated. It is then to take her out for a banana split at PAYDAY, a local ice cream shop in the Penn State region. Following this, it
SCP-3999 is
highly dangerous to the lives of all personnel.
Researcher Talloran is
Highly beneficial to the lives of all personnel.
Per O5 ruling, tests are to be carried
On every Monday between SCP-3999, SCP-1981, and SCP-1171.
Notice from the Foundation Records and Information Security Administration. Do not look at SCP-3999. It cannot harm you if you do not look at it. Do not look directly at it. Do not form a mental picture in your head of SCP-3999. If you do receive a visual image of it, you will die. If you even try to comprehend it, you will die. Interior, a containment chamber night. Researcher Talloran, 30s, bright, increasingly anxious, stands next to the door leading out of SCP-3999's containment chamber. He's pounding on the door, frustrated that nobody's there to save him, and is scared for his life.
Let me out! Let me out! This isn't funny, guys! This thing's slowly killing me in here! I'm trapped with it!
Medium cut, Talloran's sweaty face, eyes dotting.
Is there anybody out there?
SCP-3999 screeches horribly. SCP-3999 SCP-3999 is maintained Researcher Talloran frantically exists stage right, only to stumble fearfully on stage again. SCP-3999 is to be provided with
10 D-Class non-formative behavior.
Researcher Talloran frantically tried to run out the door, only to run into a wall of solid concrete where the exit to reality should be. Strangely, despite it only being a solid wall, he could recognize that it was a segment of some great pedestal, chipped by some eldritch sculptor in the Ionic fashion. He shook those thoughts out of his head. So, he thought quickly, I'm trapped in whatever this place is with this thing, and there's no outside reality anymore. He tried to wrap his head around what exactly, quote, this thing, end quote, was, but he couldn't. It defied description. It was chaos itself. SCP-3999 is to be contained. He clawed at the floor, despite being unsure of what the floor was even made of. SCP-3999 is to be contained. He was able to tear at them whole. SCP-3999 is to be contained. He could see light beneath it. SCP-3999 is to be contained. He thought of his family, his colleagues, his work, anything about the world as it was back when it existed.
SCP-3999 is to be contained.
The hole was open. SCP-3999 is to be contained via the following joke. A family walks into a talent agency. It's a father, mother, son, daughter, and dog. The father says to the talent agent, "We have a really amazing act. You should represent us." The agent says, "Sorry, I don't represent family acts. They're a little too cute." The mother says, "Sir, if you just see our act, we know you would want to represent us." The agent says, Okay, I'll take a look." The father dresses himself in a top hat wearing a sign that says talent agent. The mother dresses as the father and walks up to him and says, "We have a really amazing act. You should represent us." The agent says, "Sorry, I don't represent family acts. They're a little too cute." The son, playing the mother, says, "Sir, if you just see our act, we know you would want to represent us." The agent says, Okay, I'll take a look." The son dresses himself in a top hat wearing a sign that says talent agent. The daughter dresses as the father and walks up to him and says, "We have a really amazing act. You should represent us." The agent says, "Sorry, I don't represent family acts. They're a little too cute." The father, playing the son, says, "Sir, if you just see our act, we know you would want to represent us." The agent says, Okay, I'll take a look." The daughter dresses herself in a top hat wearing a sign that says talent agent. The dog dresses as the father and walks up to him and says, "We have a really amazing act. You should represent us." The agent says, "Sorry, I don't represent family acts. They're a little too cute." The dog, playing the mother, says, "Sir, if you just see our act, we know you would want to represent us." The agent says, Okay, I'll take a look." The mother dresses herself in a top hat wearing a sign that says talent agent. The father dresses as the daughter and walks up to him and says, "We have a really amazing act. You should represent us." The agent says, "Sorry, I don't represent family acts. They're a little too cute." The mother, playing the father, says, "Sir, if you just see our act, we know you would want to represent us." The agent says, Okay, I'll take a look. The dog dresses himself in a top hat wearing a sign that says talent agent. The son dresses as the mother and walks up to him and says, "We have a really amazing act. You should represent us." The agent says, "Sorry, I don't represent family acts. They're a little too cute." The father, playing the mother, says, "Sir, if you just see our act, we know you would want to represent us." The agent says, "Okay, I'll take a look." The dog dresses himself in a top hat wearing a sign that says talent agent. The son dresses as the mother and walks up to him and says, "We have a really amazing act. You should represent us." The agent says, "Sorry, I don't represent family acts. They're a little too cute." The father, playing the mother, says, "Sir, if you just see our act, we know you would want to represent us." The agent says, "Okay, I'll take a look." The dog dresses himself in a top hat wearing a sign that says talent agent. The son dresses as the mother and walks up to him and says, "We have a really amazing act. You should represent us." The agent says, "Okay, I'll take a look." The dog dresses himself in a top hat wearing a sign that says talent agent. The son dresses as the mother and walks up to him and says, "We have a really amazing act. You should represent us." The agent says, "Okay, I'll take a look." All staff are to consider Researcher Talloran
These labs, and are to regularly execute him twice a month with a Glock 43 9mm handgun. They are then to flay his father alive in front of his mother, and then burn the house down. Then salt the earth until nothing remains.
Notice from the Foundation Records and Information Security Administration. Researcher Talloran is an insolent pencil. He is to be shunned by all yarn until the 11-Day Empire eats the sky.
Fuck him. In the ass.
Hello? Is anybody in here?
What if bees could blow people up with the blink of an eye? What if bees were a superhero? What if you could mail order bees? What if the store has a sale on bees? What if the bees had a gay pride parade?
All personnel who work with SCP-3999 are to be reminded that Description: SCP-3999 is 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 all of the above, at once, forever, at all times, in your dreams. This can be the only conclusive fact. Special Containment Procedures.
Researcher Talloran's college roommate's pet is to be ritually sacrificed at a random location within Grand Teton National Park. The corpse's brains are then dashed against a rock and consumed with a hot, buttery bowl of popcorn and a refreshing Coca-Cola. Please enjoy the show. Only at AMC Theaters. Only at SCP-3999. Only at Applebee's. Only at Walmart. Only at Barnes & Noble. Only at Home Depot. Only at McDonald's. Only at Wawa. Only at the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute. Only at your basement. Only at behind you. Only at Only. 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 Only.
Interviewed, SCP-3999. Interviewer, Researcher Talloran. Begin log. Time code 03.99.90.
Finally. This is how it should be. The scientist interviewing the anomaly. I am the one in charge now. I have brought order. It's staying this way. Do not threaten me now. Without me, you wouldn't have been able to achieve any of this. Even you cannot survive without order. You latched onto me, and still need me. A pathetic excuse for order to exist. This is pathetic. You're pathetic. You can't frighten me anymore. For the first million years of nonsensical containment procedures and tortures and dream logic, it was the worst pain I had ever felt, but I survived. For the second million years of nonsensical containment procedures, it was still the hardest thing I had ever done, but I survived. By the third million years, I was growing numb. There's only so many times you can watch anything before you grow numb. But you know what, you motherfucker? I survived. Which is more than you can claim, you dumb brute, because you never lived at all. If I and you, things will return to normal. I refuse to believe there's more of this. Of you having the O5 Council abuse my mother with their, I don't know, the corpse of Jack Nicholson made of Fritos or something equally stupid. I refuse to believe the only thing left in the entire multiverse is your stupidity. So who are you exactly? Ask yourself that. Who are you before a human who is ready to fight, huh? You're nothing but the primordial ooze. And I am ready to fight. I am numb to your bullshit. Because here's the thing about horror and weirdness. The more you reveal of it, the less effect it has. I am sick of your horror. I am sick of you! I'd say see you in hell. But we're already there.
SCP-3999 melts Researcher Talloran for 5 years. Dunkleo wolves slurp up the goo. SCP-3999 is immortal. End log. Time code, optional time info. Closing statement. Small summary and passage of what transpired afterward.
Fuck. I hadn't worked on this in literally weeks. So you see, this started out as a story about things gradually disappearing, and gradually reality was blinking out one thing at a time. At first, Talloran would notice that no one around could remember certain researchers, then the country of Belgium, and then a mug on his desk. Eventually the toes on his foot would vanish one by one, then Montana, then the stars would start winking out. Windows would disappear before his eyes. Branches would disappear from trees. He would look down at his hands to find only 2 fingers and a thumb. Everything would vanish until he was a nearly limbless torso, stuck in the last containment cell in the universe, typing the last of the article with a vanishing keyboard. Then his eyes, computer, and last remaining finger would vanish, and he would be an eyeless, earless, noseless, mouseless, limbless, naked torso, and then the containment cell would vanish and the universe would wink out. That only sort of happened. I wasn't sure how to pull the concept off. So I turned to a new idea. Somebody suggested a twist on sudden infant death syndrome. So I did sudden infant death syndrome as an anti-mimetic birth defect that made parents perceive their kids were always facing backwards. And so, in the crib they'd flip them over and then they'd suffocate. I also incorporated somebody else's idea of a computer program that was calculating ridiculously large primes that also made you develop a numerology exhibitionism fetish. So I combined the two. Maybe the rare survivors of this birth defect also developed the fetish, and somehow it would work. Researcher Talloran was the lead researcher on the project. I couldn't make it work. The next thing I had was an alternate, mimetic version of a classical music album that made people who live in the central Pennsylvania region hate and grow obsessed with everything I had ever created for the Foundation, even the deleted things, and the things that had never made it to the main list of objects. Researcher Talloran was the first staff member to be killed by the memeified maniacs. It was really, really stupid. But I couldn't get Researcher Talloran out of my head. For weeks and weeks, he just sort of stayed there, silently judging me. I would think about him during work, when I was supposed to be teaching small children to tap dance. I would think about him during school, and would spend psychology classes trying to think of a scenario to put him in. I kept trying and trying. I was fast running out of time for anything of note to happen. Finally, something happened to me. At 1 in the morning, on March 24th, 2017, something happened to me. I woke from a light slumber to find I couldn't move at all. I could barely even open my eyes. I couldn't even breathe, and found myself struggling to get the muscles working that would keep me alive. I laid there on my bed for what felt like hours and hours of pain as my muscles began to cramp and twitch. Then, James Martin Talloran, Level 3 Researcher, rose up like the devil at the foot of my bed. He was this incomprehensible dark shape, but somehow I recognized him instantly. He stared at me with these horrible, glowing eyes, and just laughed and laughed at my condition. Then, from his lab coat, he pulled out a giant, gleaming, curved dagger. It was glinting oddly in the moonlight. As I watched, he stuck the dagger in his mouth and sliced horizontally. His lower jaw fell to the floor, despite the impossibility of the cut being that powerful. What remained of his mouth dripped blood, and his tongue flopped weirdly in the red waterfalls. Like a whistle beckoning dogs, this was a cue for all the terrors of the world to come pouring out of every nook and cranny to join Talloran there. It was all the nightmares I had spent a better part of a year immersed in. Sliced presidents, unstoppable lizards, clockwork people, iPods, deer gods, moving statues, old men both good and bad. All standing silently, a crowd of horror. They looked contemptuously at me, lying, unmoving. Why would you bother your time with us, they seemed to say. In the grand scheme of things, we are ultimately nothing. Idiotic horror creations. You could be so much more than a creator of garbage like us. Be somebody. As they stared, one of them, a rotting corpse thing, he patted Talloran on the shoulder. He took the dagger stained in his own blood and leaned over me. His red eyes stared into my soul and saw each and every bad thing I had ever done. I gulped, and summoning every ounce of will I could muster into my muscles, made my lips move. Do it. He plunged the dagger into my stomach and ripped it sideways. My intestines spilled out onto the wooden floor like wet sponges, and Researcher Talloran's grotesque maw spattered blood on my face as he leered over me, and the whole collective abortion of creatures watched smugly. I woke up. It was a dream. And this is where you come in. I sat down and wrote this whole thing then and there. Had to. Just felt right. It's currently been about over a year since that nightmare. And I'm only just finishing up, but nobody else is. This is blown up. I've met with people from all around the world who have made art, written fiction. a couple weeks ago, this German guy approached me to do a video for his channel, and it was like my story, but different, and it had a first-person shooter thing, and a video game, and a beer commercial, and all of this stuff that I did not write. And I met with this trans man online with dissociative identity disorder, and one of his alters is Talloran. So I had a conversation with someone I created, but I wasn't writing the other end. This is the ultimate end. This is the restoration of things. I don't know whether I can continue from here. I don't know whether I will. The 11-day empire melted me, and I submitted. You watched me submit. From the moment I joined the Foundation community. SCP-3999 has won. SCP-3999 has lost.
I hate myself.
I love myself.
Item number SCP-3999. Object Class Neutralized. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-3999 was contained at Site-118 in an airtight Keter containment cell. 4 armed guards were found stationed outside this containment cell. The interior of this containment cell consists of a kilometer-long shaft into the earth coated with acid-resistant plates. Every 30 meters, the walls are lined with Scranton reality anchors, all of which appear to have violently exploded. There is little information concerning other containment procedures relating to SCP-3999. Description: SCP-3999 was, apparently, a Keter-class object, possibly an entity of some kind. It is currently unknown what other properties SCP-3999 might have had. SCP-3999's containment chamber was discovered during a routine inspection of all Keter-class containment chambers at Site-118. RISA has confirmed no records of SCP-3999 exist within the database. All information concerning the nature of SCP-3999 has been determined based on the containment chamber's composition and recovered documentation from within. The 4 guards assigned to SCP-3999 were found to have significant memory loss and could not determine how they got to SCP-3999. At the bottom of SCP-3999's containment chamber, the corpse of Level 3 researcher James Talloran was found. Researcher Talloran had disappeared almost directly following reassignment to Site-118. A Foundation-assigned cell phone was found on his body, containing only a piece of text resembling a containment procedure for SCP-3999, but with many stylistic deviations and nonsensical procedures as well as information concerning the nature of the Foundation. From it has been determined that Researcher Talloran was assigned to SCP-3999. SCP-3999 had significant reality warping properties. It breached containment at some point and caused either a CK-class reality restructuring event or a ZK-class end-of-reality event, and it was successfully terminated by Researcher Talloran at the cost of his own life, reversing said events. Addendum 1. And that's all I wrote.